Hey everyone, welcome back to another review. As always, my name is Jay. In this video, I'm going to go over the new Psychic Awakening Faith and Fury book, just on pre-order right now from GW. It's an exciting book. I really like it. In this video, I'm going to give my first impressions and talk about the Space Marine side. And in my next video, I'll talk about the Chaos Space Marine side. The Adeptus Astartes versus the Adeptus Traitoris, or whatever they're called. Traitorous people. Traitor guys. But yeah, so it's an interesting book. So first of all, Heretic Astartes. So, sorry, that's what it is. It's an interesting book because obviously it continues the storyline of the Faith and Fury, the Psychic Awakening. And not only does this really buff Space Marines and also gives Black Templars some rules, it also buffs the Chaos side, which is kind of cool. So basically, it's an interesting, as I said, it's an interesting book. I'm going to go over my first impressions. I think it's an interesting book. The rules are good. Space Marines needed more rule buffs, especially after the fun that they've been getting lately. Yeah, and I think there's going to be a couple cheesy combinations in here. I'm glad that the Black Templars got some love and some, some extra. They got their attention because they weren't going to get their own supplement, and so now that they're now in this, and Chaos Space Marines get their love, a little bit of love too. So all the individual major factions of Chaos Space Marines got warlord traits and some stratagems and a couple extra rules, which is cool. And so yeah, let's go over this stuff. So it starts off, of course, with the missions. There are a few missions that you can play from this. They're pretty cool. They're very thematic. They're not, in my opinion, the most balanced, but it's not really where the core lies in this book. It'll be fun to play some of these missions, but it's not where the meta will change or anything. So let's go with the first thing. Now, Masters of the Chapter. Basically, this book gives upgrades to most non-named characters that you can bring in a Space Marines army and makes them even better, which is going to be hilarious in some combinations with, I think, Iron Hands, etc. So there's first chapter litanies. The opposite page contains chapter litanies for Space Marine chaplains. They're personal to each chapter and reflect the background and mentality. Cool. So chapter litanies, as I said, apply to chaplains, and there's one for each. So if your army is battle-forged, all chapter chaplains, including named characters, in a Space Marines detachment, other than a super heavy auxiliary detachment, know litanies from their respective chapter. This is in addition to the others they know. So as long as each unit, that detachment is drawn from the same chapter. So once again, if you have an all Imperial Fist army, for example, if your chaplain is from a successor chapter, they know the appropriate chapter litany. So white scars strike off the head. If this litany is inspiring, then when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by model from a friendly white scars unit within 6 inches of this model, you can reroll the wound roll. That's pretty powerful. Imperial Fists. If this litany is inspiring, then when resolving Overwatch attack made by a model in a friendly Imperial Fist unit within 6 inches of this model, a 5 or 6 counts as a hit. Once again, pretty nasty, especially in combination with the Bolter Drill. So, it's going to be fun. 6s produce extra attacks, and if you have the one of the tactical doctrines up, it's going to be some pretty nasty stuff. Salamanders. Friendly salamander units within 6 inches of this model can perform heroic interventions if they are as if they were a character when the litany is inspiring. Iron Hands. If this litany is inspiring, add 1 to the strength characteristic of models and friendly Iron Hand units while they're within 6 inches. Cool. Iron Hands are already really, really, really powerful, so I didn't expect that to be a breaker. That's still pretty strong. I like that. Ultramarines. If this litany is inspiring, then when an advanced roll or charge roll is made with a friendly Ultramarines unit within 6 inches of this model, you can reroll any dice rolls of 1. Helps them get in combat. No, sorry. Yeah. Raven Guard. If this litany is inspiring, select 1 friendly Raven Guard unit within 6 inches of the model. That unit can shoot in a turn in which it fell back. Oh, that's crazy. If that unit can fly, it can charge in a turn in which it fell back. Cool. And so that's it for the litanies of the chapter-specific chapter litanies, but that's pretty cool. Helps buff your chaplain. And now we have a few pages where you can essentially buff a non-named character. So it's pretty cool. There's Master of Sanctity, and by the name, as you can see, Master of Sanctity is for the chaplains. So if your army's Battleforged, any Space Marines attachment, you can choose the stratagem below. And obviously the stratagem is Master of Sanctity. You can use it once. You can only use this once per game, but it's 1 command point, and a chaplain gains Master of Sanctity keyword. This model knows 1 additional litany from the litanies of battle, and can recite 1 additional litany at the start of your battle round. Cool. You can only use this stratagem once per battle, and your army cannot include 2 Masters of Sanctity from the same chapter. So Warlord traits. It has 2 different Warlord traits you can take. One is Wise Operator. Sorry, Orator, not Operator. When you roll to determine if the litany recited by this Warlord is inspiring, you can reroll the dice. And the other one's Bellowing Firebrand. Add 3 inches to the range of the Warlord's spiritual leader abilities and all litanies recited by the Warlord. That one is awesome. I really like that one. Because then you have a 9-inch bubble to make some crazy, nasty combinations. It also has some relics of the Reclusium. The first one is I can't even pronounce it, Sacrosanct Rosarius. It gives him a 3-up invulnerable save. And the other one's the Emperor's Judgment. It's a Master Sanctity model only. When resolving an attack made against a model with this relic, your opponent cannot reroll the hit roll, your opponent cannot reroll the wound roll, and your opponent cannot reroll the damage roll. In addition, when a morale test is taken for an enemy unit within 6 inches of this model with this relic, roll 2 dice and discard the lowest. If both results are the same, discard either of the dice. Cool. So once again, nasty combinations. Helps buff your chaplain. Pretty nasty stuff. Next is Master of the Forge. So as the name, of course, it's referring to a tech marine, because Master of the Forge. And once again, 1 command point you can use at the beginning of the battle. Gives a Master of the Forge. Or tech marine gunner. You can make either Master of the Forge. And when this model repairs a model using the Blessing of the Omnisci ability, the model gains 3 lost wounds as opposed to D3. And you can only use the stratagem once per battle, and your army cannot include 2 Masters of the Forge. And it gets Warlord traits. One's Master of the Machine. When resolving an attack made by a friendly chapter vehicle within 6 inches of the model, add 1 to the hit roll. That is really nasty. Yes. So that is going to be the breaking. That's a nasty combination. So this is going to be the one that the Tech Marine is surrounded by the 3, repulsor executioners, and is going to be hilariously nasty. Another one, Warden of the Ancients. Add 1 of the strength and attacks characteristic of any friendly chapter dreadnought models, whether within 6 inches of the Warlord. That's not as important. I think the Master of the Machine is broken. It's going to be nasty. Relics of the Forge. Mortis Machina. So it's a Master of the Forge model with a power axe. It replaces the power axe with the following profile: melee, strength, range melee, type melee, strength +3, AP -3, D3. And when resolving attack made with this weapon against a vehicle unit, if the saving throw is failed, it also suffers 1 mortal wound in addition to the normal damage. And the other one's the Endurant Protector, Master of the Forge model only. Add 1 to the toughness characteristic of the model with this relic. A model with this relic also gains a 4-up invulnerable save. That's better. So I take that with the Master of the Machine, surrounded by a bunch of vehicles. Have some fun. Chief Librarian is the next upgrade. So obviously by the name, Chief Librarian. Librarian upgrade. 1 command point before the battle, you can turn a Librarian into a Chief Librarian. And this model knows 1 additional psychic power from their chosen discipline and can attempt to deny 1 additional psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase. You can only use the stratagem once per battle, and you can have 2 Chief Librarians from the same chapter. Psychic Mastery. So he has 2 Warlord traits. Psychic Mastery. When a psychic test is taken for this Warlord for the first time in a phase, add 1 to the total. Or High Scholars of the Librarius. If the Warlord can generate this Warlord can generate psychic powers from any discipline that they know powers from, rather than generating psychic powers from 1 single discipline. Cool. And the relics, one is the Vinculum Vitae. It's with a 4 sword, so obviously replaces the 4 sword with the following profile: range melee, type melee, strength +1, AP -3, DD3. When resolving an attack with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll 6 inflicts D3 mortal wounds on the target instead of any other damage. Or the other one's Neural Shroud. Add 12 inches to the range of a model with his relic's psychic hood. That's pretty cool. Next one, Chief Apothecary. Chief Apothecary. So obviously upgrade to Apothecary. 1 command point. Replace Apothecary name with Chief Apothecary. When this model provides medical attention to the unit, it can reroll the dice to determine if a model destroyed is returned to that unit. You can only use a stratagem once per battle, and your army can not include 2 chief apothecaries from the same chapter. Cool. If a chief apothecary is your warlord, you can access the 2 warlords, Father of the Future. When a model in a friendly chapter infantry or chapter biker unit would lose a wound, while the unit is still alive, within 6 inches of the warlord, roll 1d6. On a 6, that wound is not lost. If the unit has the flesh is weak, it's upgraded to a 5-up. Selfless Healer. This warlord can provide medical attention to up to 2 units instead of 1, so that's much more powerful. And the unit that was provided medical attention by this warlord can be provided with the medical attention for a second time in the turn by this warlord. Note that this warlord can do so even if it is recovering the gene seed of a fallen warrior. Interesting. So that's a pretty good upgrade. As access to relics, the Acquittal. The Acquittal is a model with a bolt pistol or Absolver bolt pistol only. It replaces those with the following profile: 16 inch range, pistol 1, strength 5, AP -3, D1, and when resolving attack made with this weapon against a unit that is not a vehicle or monster, the unit has a damage characteristic of D6 for the attack. Cool. Healer's Aegis. Friendly chapter infantry models have a 5-up invulnerable save. Infantry units only. So you can't surround it by the 3 repulsor executioners within 1 inch of the model of this relic. Cool. Chapter Ancient. So, an Ancient, of course. It becomes a chapter agent for 1 command point, and friendly chapter units benefit from the model's Astartes banner while they're within 9 inches instead of 6 inches. You can only stratagem once per battle and cannot include 2 chapter ancients from the same chapter. And if your warlord has access to the warlord traits Singular Presence, friendly chapter infantry, chapter biker, chapter dreadnought units within 3 inches, the warlord can perform heroic interventions as if they were characters. Or Steadfast Example. That's pretty powerful, but Steadfast Example. Friendly chapter infantry units have the Defenders of Humanity ability, so objectives secured, while they're within 3 inches of this warlord. If such a unit already exists, then each model counts as 1 additional model when determining control of an objective marker. Pretty powerful. Banners of the chapter. So it has access to, you can basically swap the banner, because the banners are relics, right? So the first one is the Standard of Righteous Hatred. A model with the relics, instead of giving them a chapter relic, yeah. So the Standard of Righteous Hatred. A model with this relic has the following ability, so we add it on top of the normal abilities. Standard Righteous Hatred, models that shoot with one of their ranged weapons or make a single attack with one of their melee weapons as a result of this model's Astartes banner ability, always resolve their attack as if they have a ballistic skill and weapon skill characteristic of 2 up. Cool. So when they die and you roll a 4 up, they hit well. Pennant of the Fallen, models of the Astartes ability only, and it's Pennant of the Fallen. Chapter models that attack with one of the melee weapons as a result of this model's Astartes ability can make 2 attacks instead of 1. Cool. So, it's for melee, but it's pretty cool. And then finally, the Chapter Champion. So you can release a company champion with a chapter champion for 1 command point before the battle. You only use it once, blah, 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 blah. Basically, they gain the word Skillful Parry. When resolving an attack made with a weapon against this model, subtract 1 from the hit roll. Cool. It has a couple warlord traits. Master Duelist. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model against this warlord, on a hit roll of 1, roll on a d6 on a 4-up, that model unit suffers 1 mortal wound after the unit has finished shooting or fighting. That's cool. Interesting. I wonder if it's cumulative. So if you roll a bunch of 1s, you roll a bunch of d6s. Oh. When a charge roll, and the other one is Martial Exemplar, when a charge roll is made for a friendly chapter unit within 6 inches of the warlord, you can re-roll the roll. Cool. You can give a couple relics. Blade of Triumph. Model with a Mastercrafted Power Sword only. It replaces the Power Sword with the following rules. Strength, range melee, type melee, strength +2, AP -4, 3 damage. Or the Angel Artifice, which gives it a 2-up armor save and a 4-up invulnerable save. Helps keep them alive. Good stuff. Good stuff. And so next we have the Black Templars. So as I mentioned, the Black Templars got some love in this supplement, which basically gives them access to a few things. Number 1, the characters, right? High Marshal Helbrecht, the Emperor's Champion, Chaplain Grimaldus, Cenobite Servitors, and a Crusader squad. Specific rules for those models. If your army is Battleforged, all units from your army with the Close Combat Doctrines gain the Knights of Sigismund ability, so long as every unit from your army are Black Templars. So that rule is for the Black Templars army as well. The Assault Doctrine is active when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a Black Templars model with this ability against a unit that is not a vehicle. In a turn in which that model made a charge, move, or performed a heroic intervention, an unmodified hit roll, that's very circumstantial. An unmodified hit roll of 6 automatically scores a hit and successfully wounds the target. Do not make a wound roll. Very circumstantial rules, but okay. Librarian units cannot be from a Black Templars chapter. Makes sense. They don't like psychic powers. And Chosen Champion. The chapter champion stratagem cannot be used to affect Black Templars units. So we have a few sets of points. Let's talk about the points for a second. Chaplain Grimaldus is 90 points. High Marshal Helbrecht is 150. Emperor's Champion is 75. Troops, the Crusader Squad, are 13 points each. Neophytes are 11. And Elites, the Cenobite Servitors, are 2 points a model plus War Gear. So including War Gear. Yeah. The Crusader Squad is not including War Gear, obviously. High Marshal Helbrecht is movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 2 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 6 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 2 up save. He is a Combi Melta. And Swords of the High Marshals, strength melee, range, strength, obviously it's a melee weapon, strength +1, AP -3, D3. And when the bear fights in a turn in which it made a charge or performed a heroic intervention, it makes D3 additional attacks with this weapon. Also, there's Frag Grenades, Crack Grenades, Angels of Death rule, which is pretty powerful. Chapter Master, so it can reroll. This is Chapter Master. You can reroll hit rolls for attacks made by models in friendly Chapter Black Templar units while they're within 6 inches of the Warlord. So that's pretty powerful, right? Crusaders of Wrath, add 1 strength characteristic of friendly Black Templar models while the unit is within 6 inches of this model, and he has an Iron Halo 4-up invulnerable save. So that's cool. Emperor's Champion. Movement 6 inches, weapon skill 2 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 9, 2 up save. He's equipped with a bolt pistol, black sword, frag grenades, crack grenades. You can only include 1 of this model in your army. The black sword is strength +2, AP -3, DD3. And when resolving an attack made by this weapon against a character or monster unit, you can reroll the wound roll. He has Angels of Death, Sigismund's Honor, which is add 1 to the model's strength and attacks characteristic while they're within 1 inch of any enemy character models. Skillful Parry, when resolving an attack made with this weapon, subtract 1. If you're shooting at him, -1 to hit, or attacking him, -1 to hit. Slayer of Champions, when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by this model against an enemy character, you can reroll the hit roll, and he has a 4-up invulnerable save. Chaplain Grimaldus, 6-inch movement, 1 skill 2 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, leadership 9, 3-up save. He's equipped with a plasma pistol, Artificer Crozius, which is strength +2, AP -2, 2 damage. Frag grenades, crack grenades. He has Angel's Death rule, Spiritual Leader. So any friendly Black Templar units can use this model's leadership characteristic instead of their own if they're within 6 inches of this model. Devout Puritan. This model can attempt to resist 1 psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase in the same manner as a Psyker for denying the Witch. Unmatched Zeal. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model in a friendly Black Templars unit within 6 inches of this model, on an unmodified hit roll of 6, you can make 1 additional attack against the same unit, which is pretty cool. Using the same weapons, this attack does not generate further attacks. And 4-up invulnerable save. So it's awesome. And this model can know the Litany of Hate, and either 2 litanies from the Litanies of Battle, or 2 litanies from the Litanies of the Devout. At the start of the round, this model can recite 2 litanies it knows that has not already been recited by a friendly model that battle round. Roll 1d6 on a 3-up. The recited litany is inspiring and takes effect until the end of the battle round. The Litany of Hate is if this litany is inspiring, you can reroll hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by models and friendly Black Templar units while they're in 6 inches of this warlord of this model. Pretty powerful stuff. And for the elite slot, Cenobite Servitors, movement 5 up, movement 5 inches, weapon skill 5 up, ballistic skill 5 up, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 6, 4 up save. The squad contains 3 Cenobite Servitors. They have a close combat weapon, which basically is nothing, strength, user, AP 0, D1. But mind wiped, models in the units have weapon skill, ballistic skill, characteristic of 4 up, and leadership of 9 while they're within 6 inches of the Chaplain Grimaldus. If your army is Battleforged, this unit cannot take up slots in the detachment. That includes Chapter Grimaldus, Relic of the Hell's Reach. When a model in a friendly Black Templar unit within 6 inches of this unit would lose a wound as a result of a mortal wound, roll 1d6. On a 4 up, that wound is not lost. That helps keep guys alive really crazily. This is not cumulative with any other rules that allow a model to not lose wounds as a result of a mortal wound. Cool. And then the Crusader Squad, which is, normal, movement 6 inches, weapon skill 3 up, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 4, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 7, 3 up save. Cool. And as I said, so they also have the litanies of the devout. Unlike the majority of Adeptus Astartes chapters, the Black Templars maintain an unwavering belief in the Emperor of mankind's divinity. Cool. So they have litanies of the devout, which is, the first one is Litany of the Divine Protection. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly Black Templars unit within 6 inches of this model. When the model in that unit would lose a wound, roll a d6 on a 5 up. That wound is not lost. Wow. That's pretty cool. So once again, pretty powerful. Repulsor Executioner. Number 2, Psalm of the Remorseless Persecution. If the litany is inspiring, then when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a model with a friendly Black Templars unit, within 6 inches of the model, reroll a wound roll 1. Number 3 is Vow of Retribution. If this litany is inspiring, subtract 2 from the leadership characteristic of models in any units that are within 6 inches of this model. 4 is Fires of Devotion. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly Black Templars unit within 6 inches of the model. If that unit makes a charge move or performs a heroic intervention, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of models of that unit until the end of the turn. Number 5, Fervent Acclamation. If this litany is inspiring, add 3 inches to the range of friendly Black Templar units' aura abilities while they're within 6 inches of this model. That's pretty cool. Can stack. And number 6, Oath of Glory. If this litany is inspiring, select one friendly Black Templars unit within 6 inches of this model. That unit always fights first in the fight phase, even if it did not make a charge move that turn. If the enemy unit has units that have charged or that have a similar ability, then alternate choosing units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn is taking place. So they can still fight first, technically. Warlord traits. Number 1 is Oathkeeper. This warlord can perform a heroic intervention if there are any units within 6 inches instead of 3, and when doing so can move up to 6 inches instead of 3. Epitome of Piety. Epitome of Piety? Yeah. This warlord can attempt to resist 1 psychic power in your opponent's psychic phase in the same manner as a psychic, and is doing a Deny the Witch. When the Deny the Witch test is taken by this warlord, add 1 to the total. Number 3, Paragon of Fury. After this warlord finishes a charge move, for each enemy unit within 1 inch of the warlord, roll 1d6. On a 2 up, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Cool. 4, Master of Arms. This warlord always fights first in the fight phase, even if it did not charge. If an enemy, the same thing. If your opponent has the same rules, take turns, starting with their turn, or whoever's turn it is. Number 5, Inspirational Fighter. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by a friendly Black Templars unit within 6 inches of the warlord, on an unmodified wound roll of 6, improve the armor penetration characteristic of that weapon with that attack by 1. And 6, Frontline Commander. When a friendly Black Templar unit within 6 inches of this warlord advances or makes a charge move, add 1 to the advance roll or charge roll. And that's basically it in a nutshell. A couple relics and stuff, but so it gives the Black Templars really some love, some special rules. They're commanders, really does a lot. So that's it. My first impressions. I really like this book. It's buffs Space Marines who really didn't need buffing, but holy, the upgrades to Space Marines can be really powerful, especially the Tech Marine one, and pretty much all of them are kind of powerful. You can use them in several circumstances, but yeah, they're all pretty powerful. As I said, The new chapter litanies are cool. The one to upgrade a chaplain is pretty cool. The tech marine one is pretty powerful. Librarian's good. Apothecary's pretty good. What do you think? What do you think about the new rules? And in the next video, I'll go over the Chaos side as well. But those are my first impressions and the Space Marine side of the new Faith and Fury book. The new Psychic Awakening Faith and Fury book. So what do you think? Leave comments in the comment section level. Let's create a discussion about the new book. What do you think? Do you think it's overpowered? Do you think it's going to break Space Marines even more? We'll see. And it gives Chaos Space Marines some love too. So we'll go over that in the next video. So stay tuned for more videos. Stay tuned for more reviews. As always, this video is brought to you by my Patreon subscribers. Link in the description below if you want to help support my Patreon campaign. It's because of them that I can keep making these videos. So stay tuned for more reviews. And please go check out my Patreon if you really want to help support my videos. So next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting.